All right. I did my presentation on Louis Armstrong, the jazz leader of the Harlem Renaissance. So Louis Armstrong, just a little bit of background on him. Louis Armstrong was born in 1901. Although Armstrong claimed many times to be born in 1900, various documents, notably a baptismal record, indicated that he was born in 1901. Armstrong was also born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana, with a very poor lifestyle. He was notably ravaging through dumpsters for food before jazz was even popular. And then in 1913, he was sent to the Colored Waifs home as a juvenile delinquent, where he started to play the cornet, which is where he started developing skills of the instrument that would ultimately change his life forever. So now moving on to the genre that Louis Armstrong was so famous for is jazz music. So the cornet is his instrument, which is a member of the brass instrument class, which is basically a smaller version of the trumpet, as you can see in this picture, which makes the sound more high pitched as well as a little bit more like raspy coming off the end of it. And he was influenced by King Oliver, who was another famous cornetist. He learned his music from him and basically was the pioneer of the jazz artist of the day. Um, he ended up playing in Oliver's Creole jazz band with him. He was. They ended up making plenty of music together, and he also played in marching bands, which, since the beginning of the marching band era, has always had a little bit of a jazz influence to it, given all the brass instruments that are a part of it. So, moving on to his solo career, Louis Armstrong's solo career, he changed jazz forever. You could say that his solo career is really what set him apart from the rest of the bunch, and when he started to incorporate different delivery styles that had never been seen before is when he really got going. Um, so Armstrong was known for his energetic, swinging, rhythmic momentum, which playing his influence doing that was far beyond jazz. It was a major influence on soloists in every genre of American popular music at the time. He's also notably been sampled, meaning part of his original music has been seen in newer songs about 85 times, just because the newer artists want to use his genius in their songs. And, many of his songs are still being played today by many people, including songs like this, What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. This What a Wonderful World is his most popular song without a close second. Um, this song actually took 2 decades to chart in the US. It was released in 1967 and charted in 1988. This song's popularity at the get-go was mainly in England, where it did chart right away. But it didn't chart in the US until 2 decades later, like I said. But the reasoning was because the inclusion of the song in the Robin Williams movie Good Morning Vietnam, as you can see here on the slide. It's really the only reason that I caught a glimpse of the limelight in the first place. And the intent of the song was for it to bring rejoice and happiness during the period of civil unrest going on in the United States. Obviously, as most people do, they go through roadblocks in their life, and I think that Louis Armstrong has had a bunch of notable ones. To start, running from the mob, he'd play at nightclubs for mobsters of the likes of Al Capone, as you can see a picture of them two up there, and they would basically threaten his life if he decided not to play or not pay him, and there was really nothing he could do. Um, he also obviously had a very impoverished lifestyle. Obviously, this would be hard for anyone, but ravaging through dumpsters to find food is a different level of impoverished, especially for a very young kid like he was doing that at the time. He also dealt with different health and physical injuries. He had a heart attack at one point in his life, and he's also had lip injuries that would affect his playing ability and how much he'd be able to play the trumpet without injuring his lips. And obviously the civil rights issues that were going on at the time, I would say that this was his biggest, as well as most African Americans' biggest issues. But his issue was different. It was different because he was getting backlash and hate from both whites and blacks. The whites, for obvious reasons, just because of the color of his skin, and the blacks was because he would sometimes be quoted or known in the black community as someone who would suck up to the white folk. That's why I have a picture here of him doing talk shows with the white man, to get himself better off in the community, which made obviously some black people upset. So he's had a significant impact on my life. I am a white male, but he has made an impact on my life. What a Wonderful World, for instance, I listen to that song way more than I listen to other songs because it really is one of the few songs out there that anyone, any age, race, gender, ethnicity can listen to and thoroughly enjoy, which is good given the fact that, after some research, that was the entire point of the song being released in the first place. Also, his samples can be found in some of my favorite artists, some modern day hip hop artists, like for instance Mac Miller, which is one of my favorite top listened to artists as of recently. And then also, I would like to comment on the fact that he was a very good friend and was basically raised with a Jewish family back in New Orleans. Personally, I was born and raised Jewish, and I know how different black culture and Jewish culture can be. And I'm sure some of the gained knowledge of the Jewish faith taught Armstrong how to be more kind and generous to people not like him, which I'm sure played a significant impact in his music, as you can see in this picture to the right here. That is a Star of David around his neck, and he would wear that